all natural, delicious.
Hello everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, follow, share, all of those good things. So, what am I going to talk about today? I'm in my car driving, and I thought I can't really carve out the time any other, or I won't really have any other opportunity as it leads up into the weekend for me to get a video recorded. So I thought I'd take the opportunity now to record a video and talk to everybody. And so just bear with me, let me check that it is recording, because I've made that mistake many times before. Great, it is recorded. And I guess I'm not gonna make this video too long, as I just want to get a few points out there and then start the weekend, you know, because it's Friday today. Today's the 25th of April. We're heading slowly into summer. It's been a nice pleasant day today. Temperatures are around 15 degrees. It hasn't rained, which is thumbs up in my book. So what are we going to go through today? Well, it's just interesting because I think about how sometimes we tend to, I'm speaking for myself here, we tend to sometimes contemplate the future, dwell on the past, and we never really get or focus on the here and now. Because if you think about it, the only moment that ever really exists is the now. You know, the future, the past has happened, the future hasn't happened yet. So the only moment day to day that we really experience is now. And it's so easy to get caught up in not thinking about the now and letting your mind wander into things that haven't happened, anticipating things that are going to happen, or things that lie in the future. Or conversely, we dwell on the past and think about how we could have maybe done things differently in the past, and maybe we are upset about certain situations that we were in and how we handled those situations, and wishing we could have done it differently, wanted to change it. And the fact of the matter is, those two scenarios do not exist. The past does not exist. The future hasn't happened yet. Day to day, moment to moment is the now. And I also want to just talk about how time itself passes by at an absolutely phenomenal rate. I mean, I've talked about this before in the channel, and an issue that I have talked about ad infinitum is the concept of thinking it's always too late to do something, and I don't want to start a new project or a new skill or look into a new job because it's too late, you know. I should have made the preparations in the past for that stuff, you know. That ship has sailed. I can't do it now because, well, you know, by the time I get started with this thing, it's gonna take years and so on, and then it just becomes a circular reasoning type of thing, and you get caught in that loophole. And it's a real struggle sometimes to get out of that mindset, that way of thinking. And I've struggled with that quite a bit over the years. But you know, the best time to have started something maybe was years ago. The second best time to have started doing that same thing is now. Because the time will pass anyway, regardless of whatever it is, that whatever endeavor or skill or habit that you want to pick up, whether you do it or not, the time is going to pass. The time does not discriminate against you starting something, whatever goal you have. Time doesn't care. That time will pass whether you do it or whether you don't. And I think that's such a powerful concept, because it instantly alleviates that burden or that constraint of thinking, it's too late. Well, if it's too late, then so be it. You might as well just do it anyway, because whether it's too late or not, that time is going to pass. So why not pass that time by starting that new thing that you've been putting off for years and years and years? Because speaking from experience, I've seen how quickly time passes, and it's astonishing. Things that happened 10 years ago, when you're in that moment 10 years ago and you think, oh, okay, I'm gonna set a goal for 10 years in the future, that time is gonna take forever. Well, it may seem like that at that particular point in time, but here we are 10 years later. Did you start doing that thing that you promised you would start doing? Because 10 years evaporates just like that. And so the reason I want to make this video is just to stress to everybody not to be afraid of starting something that you've been putting off for a long time, and don't let the fallacies, we call them mental fallacies, stop you from pursuing things that you know will challenge you, that will put you out of your comfort zone, and ultimately lead you closer to a more fulfilling life. For me, a big thing that always comes up in my mind about something that scares me is this idea of public speaking. And I don't really know why I have this in my mind that I would need to do public speaking, but I think it probably stems from, I'm not a public figure or anything like that. I rarely, if ever, have to speak in front of big crowds. So I don't understand why, for me, I make it such a big deal that I'm afraid of public speaking. Well, I rarely am put into those situations. But I think where it stems from, for me, is that in my professional life, there will be times where, whether it be at meetings or, predominantly meetings, I would say, or or giving presentations, things like that, that I think as part of a continual professional development in your career, you will face those moments in time. And I have had exposure to that. There's always the apprehension beforehand, before you speak to a group of people who, in your mind, you make them out to be these all-knowing, unforgiving, like hecklers in the crowd. But I've realized that if you're giving a public presentation or a speech or something like that, most people aren't there to see you fail. A lot of people maybe are just there out of some sort of obligation, and they just want you to speak and then get it over with and then go on about their day. And and you obviously get the other side of things, like, for instance, stand-up comedians. That is their job, to speak to the crowds and to speak to people, and there are inevitably people in the crowd that are hecklers and that are just there to, I don't know, try and throw some shade at, or some abuse at the stand-up comedian. And I don't know why they would do that. Why pay all that money to go and see a show only to then shout out as if you're a part of the show, to say to the comedian as if they're the guys holding the mic. People are there you paid to go watch this guy. So I've never really understood why people heckle like that, and maybe that feeds into why I have the apprehension or a fear of public speaking, is because I think that somehow that may happen. But then I think about, like, all the other public figures, and you see these politicians and how they speak to people, and they don't go about it with the mindset that they know everything and that they can rebut every question that comes their way, or rebut every argument. They just go in there, state their points, to the best of their ability, and they understand that they're not the all-knowing, all-powerful, omniscient person in the whole world or in that room, and that doesn't stop them. And life moves on. You can blunder, you can make a blunder, you can make mistakes. That's part of the process. Me making these videos is part of the process. I've tried to set myself the task of uploading at least one video every week, not really knowing what the subject matter is going to be, not really knowing who the target audience is going to be, not really rehearsing any of it beforehand. Yeah, maybe I have some vague idea of what I want to talk about, but rehearsing or having a script, not really. And I just want to see where it goes, how I can improve. And I've seen, you know, over the years, you may have seen it, noticed it yourself. You may have been following a particular content creator over the years, and you've seen how their material has improved, how they've refined it, how they've catered it to their specific niche or subject matter. And over time, as they become proficient at making the videos and building an audience, I think that's when they realize that they can actually build the momentum and start investing in maybe some better equipment, some microphones, things like that. And that's part of the process, and I am very much really in the early stages of that. And so for me, these videos, yeah, I mean, I'll look back at them. Hopefully I'll still be doing them in a few years' time, and hopefully I'll be able to compare where I am in the future, which hasn't happened and is not guaranteed, and see or notice the progress, or see what improvements have been made from this first video. So my call to action for everybody watching is start doing that thing that you've been putting off. What is it that you've been putting off for many years? What excuses have you been telling yourself? Write down every reason that you come up with in your mind as to why you can't do a certain thing, and realize that those excuses, for the most part, only really exist in your mind. And a lot of the times, once we stop pursuing things that we were fearful of, we realize that we had nothing to be scared about. I mean, once I've done a presentation in front of a group of people, there is this like, there's the excitement that you get afterwards, and that feeling like, wow, you actually did it. And you know, almost like when you get off a roller coaster and you think it was frightening, but it was fun at the same time, and you almost want to go and do it again. And I think that's the feeling that I want to try and keep chasing. Is you know, it's petrifying, but you throw yourself into the situation and immerse yourself in it, experience it for whatever it is, the goods, the bad, learn from it, and carry on. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Is the time will pass anyway, and time doesn't wait for anybody, and it's the most precious resource that we have on this planet. So use it to the best of your ability to squeeze out from that time as much as you can, you know. And I'm still, you know, I'm not perfect with it. I'm still working on it, and that's what I would encourage other people to do. You're not in this alone. There's other people going through exactly the same thing. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a great time today. Looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to summer, and I will hopefully see you guys on the next one. All right, take it easy.